Can I ask you about Dragon's Den?
Of course you can.
So if I can, I'm going to walk you through it.
Yeah.
Because I know that's what people want to know. And actually, David's tuned in and David edits the video, so it'd be really useful for him as well.
Of course, yeah.
So how did you find out about it? Did someone approach you, or did you find a website, or?
Yes, what happened was we applied about a couple of years in a row, got nothing at all. And then there was a Great British Entrepreneur competition, which I wasn't actually going to apply for. The deadline was like it was midnight on a Friday. It was like it was during lockdown, and it was like well, I can't go to the pub. And it was like I applied at 10:30 at night, just thinking nothing about it at all.
To Dragon's Den, or was this the Great British Entrepreneur?
The Great British Entrepreneur Award. Fired it off, and then I got shortlisted in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
And then we won the Northeast. That's right, we won the Northeast. And then it went to obviously the national final thing. And then an email dropped into our spam box from the BBC, which didn't get seen. And then all of a sudden it was. Normally I just empty the spam, just don't even bother looking at it. Something told me that I've just got to check the spam today. Yeah. And I went, there's a guy called Samuel Butter from the BBC. It was just bbc.co.uk, and I went, this is interesting. And then it was like, we saw your pitch on the Great British Entrepreneur Award. Would you be interested in Dragon's Den? And it was like, would it be good? Yes, we would. Yes. Obviously, this is during lockdown, so all of a sudden there was a whole series of there were like a Zoom interview, all about the company and everything else.
So is that with like a BBC producer type person?
BBC sort of like assistant producer or researcher sort of thing. They put everything together, sort of say yes, and then from that it was, we want you to be in the programme. So it was like double get in. And then it was all of a sudden then we went into this I say due diligence, really it was pre-due diligence. We had to put all our accounts in, all our patents in, all our paperwork in advance just confirm go on the programme. We'd already been told we're going on the programme. We had to go through all that process. And then it was come down to Manchester in October 2020, I think it was, and you're going to film.
So how long did that take from when you first got the email to the kind of, in theory, filming? 6 months, a year?
3 months.
Wow, so that's pretty quick.
Pretty fast, yeah. Sort of. I think as soon as they sort of saw what we did, and obviously it's a visual product, and we sort of said, well, why don't we sort of build something that works with TV while we're cutting with a building? And because these are visual people, they went, that's fantastic. We've got to have you on. We've got to have you. It was like sort of, they really were like sort of working very, very hard to sort of get us on the program, really. So it was a 3-month process. And it was like sort of come down. It was filmed in Manchester at the old Granada Studios.
Okay.
Which is great. I mean, I don't know how much I should sort of tell you about the behind the scenes stuff, but
well, that's what people want to know. So, but I won't push you. Your call. But that's the value. That's what people want to know. I want to know.
Yeah. I'll tell you sort of how can I describe it? Sort of all those lovely walls. They're all polystyrene. All the pipes are polystyrene. All the cogs are polystyrene. The whole thing is polystyrene. The whole thing is a TV set.
See, I always assumed it was just in a warehouse. I always guessed that the elevator doesn't actually go up and down. It's just 2 doors open.
Yes, that's yes. That's the. I wasn't going to give that secret away, but that is true. So basically, what it is, there's 2 doors. They cut away on the TV that shows you going to an elevator. In reality, you're stood.
But that one's obvious. I think most people have. But I didn't know the polystyrene.
I think that's obvious, but a lot of people sort of go, "We never knew that." When you realize there's a cutaway on the camera, and then cuts away on the TV and you see it go ground 1, 2, 3, and in you go. But once you're in there, it is for real. There's, sort of you're in there. I mean, we were in there for an hour and 3/4.
Wow.
And it's full.
So it's not a 12-minute segment. It's a
no. And these guys are grilling you seriously. Sort of, there's no mucking about. It's like sort of, I said, well, what if I need to is there any breaks for the cameras are set up ready to go? They have that many cameras all around you.
So the cameras from when you see it on TV, they're almost on your left, I guess.
They're all on our left, yeah. But in the lift, for example, you have a camera. It's like sort of either camera literally at eye level.
Mm-hmm.
That's built into the wall. The cameras above you. Everything's quite secret. Sort of they have sort of, but the whole thing is
A TV set.
TV set. Sometimes you can see them off. You can see the bigger lenses off camera, and then everything's. The only thing that we filmed was we filmed the exit. We pre-filmed the exit just in case something went wrong on the exit. We pre-filmed the entrance in case something went on the entrance. But once you're in the den, and then you film live from literally. So you're going to walk around here, you're going to press that button, and then in you go. And it was like sort of we walked in there, and that's one thing I will sort of say. I'm a bit claustrophobic.
Okay.
So we walk in there, and your cue almost is the ground 1, 2, 3 that's above you. Once you sort of see that moving, those doors are going to open, and you're going to be out there, and you're doing it. It's for real, We went in there, and there must have been some sort of technical difficulty in the studio itself. And I'm in there going, okay, it's been 30 seconds. Yeah, I'm okay, man. It's fine. Minute. Yeah.
And the door never opened.
The door's not opening. I'm going, if that door doesn't open in 10 seconds, I'm going to have to kick it down. So it really was that bad. It was horrible, And then it was like, ground 1, 2, 3, the door's opened. And then there was no chance for nerves. It's just in there and doing it, and...
So a major thing that people always talk about, and I watch Shark Tank as well, which is the American kind of version.
Yeah.
How much did you practice your pitch?
Oh, we were meant to sort of write it out verbatim beforehand. I'll rephrase that. It was suggested that we write it out verbatim, which we did. And Alan and I could how we're going to sort of speak when we sort of did it. It was actually edited down quite a lot as well.
Okay.
Sort of from the final version, but yeah, so I was quite on the mark. Alan was on his mark for what he was sort of saying, but that's 3 minutes. It's 3-4 minutes. It's no more than that, and that's your pitch. Mm-hmm. Which they edited hours down to about 1.5 minutes, if that. I think from a 3-4 minute pitch, and then it goes into questions, and it's what I should sort of say is. On the TV, it looks quite dark. Mm-hmm. In reality, it's pitch black. All you can see is just a light where you're supposed to stand and a light over each one of them.
Really?
It's when you come through the doors going at it,
See, I thought you were going to say the opposite because I have video lighting in this room and it's mega bright. So I thought for TV it'd be even more so.
No, it's pitch black. Absolutely pitch black. Apart from these 4 lights, and that's why the definition is really, really key. You almost have like sort of, I think them sort of control and fade lights in on the product itself. But yeah, so it was, and that's why when I saw it on TV, I thought, it's quite light, But in reality, it was extremely dark.
Can I ask, what was the experience like in terms of how much they grilled you? Was it? I have seen the show, but it's almost when you're actually there. Is it a friendly chat for 1 hour and 40, or is it quite brutal?
We were told, because we knew people had been on there previously, we were sort of told that if they don't like you, you'll be bombed out within 45 minutes. They'll absolutely just destroy you,
okay.
And we walked in. Now, what you got to remember is this was the first series that filmed under COVID, so all the dragons had a 2 meter distance behind inside of them. So where Peter Jones was sat, which is obviously on our far right hand side, the TV's far left hand side or whatever.
Yeah.
All he could see was the side of the building where we'd been writing notes on it, and it was for TV. So I mean, we're told it's a TV program. So what you're doing is it's a TV set that you've made, So the viewers can't see the other side. So we'd written notes on it and everything else, and was like, "I'll do this, do that." All Peter Jones could see was the side of the building, And he went, "Gary, Peter." I went, "Hello, Peter." Yes, he did. It looks a bit shit, doesn't it? I was like, so I thought, no, that's all we need. It's getting bombed. We're going to get bombed out. But it was testing us out to see if we're going to rise to it. And I just went, okay, it's your opinion, Peter.
Yeah.
And I didn't say, and he went, because he was looking for a rise. He was looking for that bite. I thought, I'm not going to give you that bite.
Because the one thing that gets me about the show, and it must be so much more surreal when it is you, is that it's the valuations and stuff and how harsh they are. That, like, I do all right, but I'm not a multimillionaire. That to them, 30 grand is probably what 300 quid is to me.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
But when this is someone's life and they're nailing them over different stuff, and they say, oh, I'll give you, I'm trying to think, 50 grand for 55% of the company.
Yes.
And it always seems artificially harsh, and that's just me watching it as a viewer. But you don't have to comment, because I know you might not be able to.
No. Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, for us, we went in there and we sort of said, well, we won't. I mean, ironically, sort of, we went in there saying, well, we won't give away more than 10, 12% for the company, sort of. And what you don't see on the TV is, I've remember, it's a TV program. It's not an investment program.
Yeah.
As we went in there, and Ted sort of on the TV, it looks like Ted Albani offers last. He offered first within the first half an hour, and they were all looking at him as if to sort of say, "Well, nobody ever offers this early." And he offered us. I mean, we went in there for 50,000 at 5%. He'd been around the product, and he looked at everything else, and that's pertinent questions. And he went, "I've heard enough." He says, "I'm going to make you an offer. I'm going to offer you all the money for 10% of the company." So it was only like double.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, that's actually a decent. Bear in mind, we hadn't sold a brass deal at the point in time. I thought, that's fair. Valuing the company at £500,000 is a fair valuation for where we are at the minute. And then went around the houses. Then sort of Deborah Meaden, who we went in there looking for Deborah Meaden to a certain degree, because we were told she was the Green Queen. Mm-hmm. Whether Deborah is the Green Queen is another question. Is a matter of opinion. But she wasn't interested. It was like, so she was, and because she wasn't interested, Peter Jones wasn't interested. And then Sarah Davies, who was obviously sort of from the northeast, and Sarah said, "Can I see the patents?" Now, bear in mind, this is all taking place over an hour and a half, 2 hours. Sarah had the patent for about 15, 20 minutes, perhaps even more. Wow. She was really going through it, really good, because, sort of, "Can I see the patent?" And it wasn't like on TV where it cuts and then looks like she's flicked through it for about 30 seconds. She'd gone through it, and she was making little notes to herself and everything else. And so she came in with her offer at about, I'm going to guess, about an hour and a quarter, somewhere around there. And she went, "I've heard enough. I'm going to make you an offer, and I'm offering you the same as Ted Albani." So we had two offers on the table. So it was like, well, just getting that first offer after half an hour just calmed us all down.
So, because one of the things that I think is beautiful about shows like that is whether you do or don't get investment or whichever, it's the profile. It's the fact that people will see it. You can put that. Are you allowed to put the sticker like as seen on Dragon's Den? Are you allowed to do that?
No, but we do anyway.
I was going to say, I thought you would, but you should. But it's that kind of stamp of authority and credibility that actually I don't have. A lot of people don't have, and it's the profile to get from it, because you must get people that go on it for the profile with never intending to take an investment. It's just because I'd almost do that. Do you know what I mean? But then again, I also know someone else in the Northeast that was on Dragon's Den, and they got ripped apart, and it was like, so if it goes badly, it can go really badly. Yes,
that's it. So, and that was part of the reason I thought, well, if we do get criticism, I'm not gonna rise to the bait. That's why with the Peter Jones first comment, which, like I say, inside it was like, oh God, no. Yeah. It really was one of those, But after half an hour from Tej Albani, it was like, okay, we've got a really sensible offer, early doors.
It's put that flag in the sand. It's put that anchor down.
Exactly.
Which then, that's almost the best thing that could ever happen. So what happened next?
So we did the program. We got some photos taken with Tej, because obviously we took the investment from Tej and Sarah afterwards. Obviously sort of spoke to a lot of their people. It then goes into sort of due diligence, where they go into more work, and the reality is about a third to half the investment, well, 2/3 to half the investments don't take place anywhere for whatever reason in due diligence. And it was a bit on both sides, really. Sort of, after the program, it was like, sort of, well, what are we going to get from these dragons? And I'm guessing they looked at us and going, well, it's not the product for us.
Wow, okay.
But the thing is, sort of, because neither of them are in construction or understand that, if you like, to a certain degree, which is part of the reason why I thought Deborah Meaden would be more interested, because of the green element.
And the caravan parks. And
the caravan parks and that sort of thing, because obviously sort of using it for pods and building, that sort of thing. I thought, well, we're right up her street, which is why I was surprised that she didn't make an offer. But it was almost like preordained that she sat in a chair, just quite like poor face all from day one. She was never going to make an offer, so I was like, no, that's okay, that's fine. One of her comments, which she made in the program, was she didn't believe that we get enough waste polystyrene.
Okay.
Like, sort of, okay, all right. And I think the mistake we sort of made is we sort of took on some waste packaging, whereas in reality, sort of a lot of what we use is fridge linings. Mm-hmm. Now, best will in the world, we're never going to do. We're not going to be able to replace fridges because polystyrene is the best thing where you sort of line fridges. We can't we're not going to sort of do away with coat hangers overnight. Well, certainly sort of 3 billion coat hangers overnight, which is what we make as a world, which is how we use our foundations. So it was like, wow, sort of what. Long story short, we sort of looked at that and went, it wasn't for them, it wasn't for us. We sort of shook hands and sort of walked away from the deal really afterwards.
But with a lot of benefit from it, you know what I mean? The fact that people, and I get it, and it's almost, I think that rightly or wrongly, they do kind of abuse their position that they're rich people that actually to them, the money isn't an issue. And especially if they have an investment company, it's a tax write-off. Arguably, it's a free risk. Exactly. But I always think that the people who actually go on to sell their wares, it's their life and their soul, and so I really hate it when people drill them over crappy valuations and stuff. And so, but hopefully, I'm sure you don't regret going on.
No, we don't. I mean, from our investment perspective, we launched a crowdfunding off the back of it, and we raised sort of almost £250,000 for the same for a similar 10%. So we got but Dragon's Den helped us with that. It gives us a validation to then get 5 times the valuation.
Oh, cool. So what's next? What's the big dream?
Big dreams. Obviously, sort of we're spending sort of this rest of this year and a fair part of next year is going to be running to the work from home pods, the garden buildings. We want to be sort of developing that sort of northeast UK. We're already sort of talking to companies in Holland, France. There's a company in Malta contacted us. Companies from South Africa contacted us that are interested in it.
Wow.
So then look at that model to sort of say, well, okay, can we make this work from a licensing perspective in those countries, having proved and know what we know from the UK? And then really it's expanding 2 ways. It's expanding our product range, expanding our territories, and then how we handle that expansion becomes the fun bit, shall we say? Mm-hmm. The scaling is the fun bit,
No, I agree. And out of interest, when you started your career, did you ever think that you'd be doing this again?
I swore that having had a company go bust on me, I would never, ever, ever be self-employed again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's the number of times I've questioned myself and go, because I mean, sort of, I know it makes it sound like it's been dead easy over the last sort of 6-7 years. It's not. It's been very, very hard work, raising funds. Can
I ask, and you don't have to answer, but it's almost, did you remortgage the house or anything like that? Because that's always a major step.
What I did was, I have a couple of rental properties. Okay. My own home, I was renting my own home out by the room. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sort of pay for my living expenses, and I was living in one room in that house. Wow. Sort of pay for that. Yeah.
But the thing is, but all of these sacrifices are stuff that people are really interested in a topic like me love this kind of stuff, because it's the honest truth that most people don't do. That it's when you believe in something so much that you're willing to make sacrifices and do stuff like that because of the longer term vision. I think a lot of people expect that it's going to come easy. They launch a website and they do an online Shopify store and they'll be millionaires in a year. And it's not. It's horrible grind. But you have to love it, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, sort of a lot of sleepless nights. Sort of let's not kid ourselves. And bear in mind, sort of, I only had sort of 3 people who have sort of said, sort of at some point in the journey, they don't like the product. Really don't like the product. And that was my daughter, who sort of said, so she went, well, I'm not giving the models to play with, and she went, it's a bit average, Dad. Sort of just joking on. Peter Jones was one, but obviously he was doing it for effect, and even he sort of came around the end and went, it's ingenious. I can't deny it's ingenious, and he was very, very complimentary as we were sort of going through the program. Sort of it just wasn't the product for him, and that's absolutely fine. Mm-hmm. And there's a gentleman. I'm not going to name that person's name, but he works for the Innovate UK, and obviously sort of when I used to study defence, and so I said,
it's rubbish. It'll never be a flood defence. So,
But I don't know about you.
one of my joys is going to be sort of when it is a flood defence, just sort of knock on his door and go, send them a piece down in the post or something. If he's still out there.
But I was going to say, but it's that drive. I almost, in the past, when I've had people challenge me or criticize me or whatever, it just gives me this horrible hunger that I just, it's the burning desire to prove them wrong, and it's that kind of thing that nobody can take that away from me. So it's almost, if I never had that, I probably wouldn't work as hard. So sometimes it's good to have, people that you kind of hate, but you don't actually hate them, but you kind of...
No. Well, actually, that's the thing, because we've had so few, I can't really hate anybody, really, if I'm being quite candid about it. What I sort of do is, I sort of say, well, tell us what you think's wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how small, how picky it is, how tiny it may seem to you, it works for me, and that's part of the reason why. I mean, we could talk to one of the large. We could talk to B&Q, obviously, an IKEA, that sort of thing, and sort of say, look, we want you to sort of license it, but what we sort of said is, okay, let's get to the end user, let's get the person who's buying it and spending 6, 7, 8, in some cases 15, 16 grand on a building, because they will tell you exactly what they like and exactly what they don't like, and then if we do license it out in wherever, we've got all that learning from the people who've spent hard cash and told you the honest truth of things they like and the things they dislike,
especially for a product, because you make physical stuff as well. I know how hard that is, and it's almost the stuff can go wrong in manufacturing, supply chain, and it's a complicated gig that it's tough. But fingers crossed, if you never get to the scale where you've got it all up and running, then it should really kind of fly. But it's hopefully you've done the hard bit, which is the
Well, like I say, sort of, we're buildings now. We've got capacity that sort of we can get 5 buildings out a day.
Wow.
That's what we can do. I mean, at the minute we're scaling about sales now.
I got it.
Which is what we're doing now, which is part of the reason why, sort of, if you ever go on our website, which is, I'll give the plug now early, Steve, if you don't mind. It's ogelworld.com. You can go on there, sort of choose the building style, you sort of choose the wrap, you choose the where you want sockets, where you want colours, windows, doors, you choose all that, and it gives you an indicative price. Actually, a very, very strong price. You put your postcode in it even tells you the delivery cost and everything else, and the assembly cost. It gives you the whole gamut. Because what we sort of figured out was, we've got a building product, but there's 2 big problems in building: the skills to build it, which obviously we've done away with that. So anybody with a half decent, like sort of DIY, can build it. And second, although we are building the first northeast buildings, shall we say, and the second thing is getting a builder to give you a quote to do any work is a nightmare. So we thought, well, if people can go online and get the quote instantly, and they may sort of say, because people don't know it's going to be £1,000 or £10,000. They don't know, But if they go on there and type and choose what they want, and then go, oh, it's £9,000. Yes, it's of interest to me.
Yeah, okay.
Can we talk more? That does away with me having to spend half an hour, 40 minutes doing a quote for somebody.
No, makes sense. Makes perfect sense.